Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Happy Tuesday and welcome to Pagan Problems. This week we are talking about stress management. Swapping ideas about how to more effectively cope with stress is one of those topics that we can go over again and again because it will always be relevant to us. Life is always going to have its troubles and its challenges, and so a certain amount of stress is a natural part of our existence. But if it starts to make us ill or we're finding ourselves veering in that direction, then that becomes a problem. And we need to talk about how to reverse that process or at least minimize its effects upon us. So, first and foremost, deal with the source of the stress first. We can treat the symptoms of excessive stress as much as we want to, but until we address the root cause of it, it's only going to do us so much good. Maybe a little bit of a distraction here and there, maybe for 5 minutes we're feeling good, but it will always resurface because we haven't dealt with the actual root of the problem. Now, sometimes the source of the stress is obvious. Maybe it's a messy home, neglected responsibilities, or we're chronic overthinkers, things of that kind. And other times we might need to meditate to find out what's actually going on, or even go through a process of elimination in order to determine the why of our stress. Now, once we get there, mundane actions can actually go a long way to lessening our stress levels. If the house is messy, tidy it. If you're avoiding your responsibilities, start carrying them out. It might seem overwhelming at first, but as you cross things off the to-do list, you will gradually feel better. And if you're overthinking, what you need is an activity that disrupts that process. And sometimes vigorous exercise, it just works like a charm, but anything that gets you off of that track in your head is going to start helping with things. So let's talk about channeling the energy of stress in another direction. We touched on it a little bit, but let's get a little further into it. Because this is going to be especially necessary if our stress is of a more emotional rather than a situational nature. Now, we can let that stressful energy just sit within our own systems and it will eat us alive, or we can find another way to utilize it. At the end of the day, energy is energy, and how we choose to direct it is just as important as the nature of what it is. Now, some people have found it helpful to pour that energy of stress into artistic pursuits, carving, sculpting, painting, crafting, music, dance, writing, acting. This gives the energy a productive use, and that fuels pursuits that help make us more well-rounded human beings. Another option is to get outside as much as possible. Not only is the fresh air good for us, it is also easier for us to connect with the gods, the spirits of the land, and even our ancestors when we're actually outdoors. That gives us the sense of connection, getting a feel for where our own personal thread is woven into the greater tapestry of existence. That gives us perspective. We can see that what we're feeling is a moment in time, but it's not what the entirety of our life is about. And that can be faith strengthening because we realize that while, we're swimming along and we have our own will that we're trying to work out, our will is not the only will. And sometimes these other beings, they are wanting to go in the same direction that we are, and that helps actively shape our lives. We're not walking alone. Another thing to think about is being more proactive in life, just in general. And to do this and to encourage ourselves, we can seek out ancestral wisdom. We don't have, a holy book full of scriptures and proverbs to refer to, but we do have the Havamal and Celtic triads. It's just two examples. Other cultures have other collections of wisdom that have proved very helpful for people over the years. So whatever you're really resonating with, there is probably something there that has timeless advice and direction. And that's what this is all about. It's about seeking out guidance in life. It can teach us to stop being passive and to seize control of our lives. If a task needs to be done, train yourself not to procrastinate. Get up and get it done. This gives us a proper sense of accomplishment, and it can help build up our confidence. And of course, the more confident we are, the less that stress is going to eat away at us. And this also retrains our thought process. Instead of wallowing in the stress and how awful it feels, we're redirected into asking ourselves, what can I do about this? What can be done immediately, and what is the long-term goal to improve the situation? It doesn't mean our feelings go away, only that our feelings are not going to be clouding our vision to the extent that it prevents us from actively seeking solutions. So I realize this is a brief discussion today, but hopefully it has been useful to you, and maybe someone watching this will start to re-examine their views about stress and realize that none of us have to become victims of our own emotions, and we do have it within ourselves to have the power to act and to improve our own circumstances. So I'd like to hear from you now. Does anyone else have ideas about how to better deal with stress when it comes to specific techniques? I'm especially interested in ways that my fellow pagans have learned to lean on their spirituality in order to improve their coping skills. So let me know in the comments or on our Discord server, Blackbird's Brew. If you haven't joined us there already, there is a link to join in the description box below. But I think that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!